Hi everyone, Vidette here. I wanted to come to you in a special moment. I've learned something that I think is pretty cool about the equinox. I did an equinox peace talks on the equinox on the 21st. And since then I've learned some new information that I want to share with you what I know, what I feel about it. And again, it's something that I'm still kind of processing and understanding more deeply. But as I share what I've gotten from it, maybe some of you will have some insights that come to you that you can share in the comments, or if you're in Storehouse Social, just share what comes to you. But before I get to that, a couple of things. I am sitting here in a very special place. I call this the heart chakra of the land that this is my parents' land, but I'm staying here with them for now. And this part of the property has always felt very special. And it's hard to tell, but it's kind of like this hillside, and it feels like when you're on it or sitting within it, it feels like it just kind of hugs you. And I've always felt it a very special energy here. And since I've been back, and it has occurred to me that it's kind of like the heart chakra. And I decided to come out here today because here in a little bit at noon today, which is December 23rd, there's going to be a massive global meditation for peace. And being someone who administers to peace as often as I can and tries to bring bring information and practices and processes and do the work that I do, which is just instilling peace in you so that you can go be that. I thought it would be apropos to come sit in the heart chakra. Look who's next to me. She's always really drawn. That's Priya. So she feels it too. We're both very peaceful right now. So I wanted to bring this information forward for you to contemplate. And so I want to get to the video so that I can be complete and enter into, some meditation here and just intentionalize more peace to our world. Before I get to that, I want to show you, I have in Storehouse Social, I'm starting a donation-based group, and we are going to be working through Project 369, the Manifestation Planner. So there's a book and then the planner that goes with it. And I messed around with the 369 process back in April of 2022 and found it to be, and this is Nikola Tesla's 369 process. And you can Google that, or DuckDuckGo it, go to YouTube. There's plenty of information on it, but I experimented with it, and I had some pretty profound insights, pretty profound things that occurred that are just kind of hard to explain now, but enough that I really recognized that there was something to the process. So I've been doing more and more research on it, just understanding it more. And I came across this journal, I came across the book, and decided that I was going to put more effort into it and do another round of work with it and invite others to do it with me. If you are interested, you can send me a DM, send me an email at connect@videttemeyer.com. Come into Storehouse Social, you'll be invited in. It is donation-based because I am facilitating it, and would like to have a group of us who are all intentionalizing our greatest heaven on earth, our greatest desires. Where two or more are gathered, there I am. I firmly believe that when two or more are gathered to hold an intention, that intention is amplified. Just like this mass meditation, there's a purpose to it. There's an intention to it, bringing people together globally with the intention of instilling peace into our planetary energetic grid. That means something, that does something, and I want to be a part of instilling peace. So I also want to be a part of instilling your greatest heaven on earth, your greatest dreams into your world. So I'm inviting you to be a part of this 369 project that we're working on. I can give you more information if you'd like it. So just shoot me a message somewhere and I will respond. So let's get into this message. I have my notes. I didn't bring my glasses, so hopefully I can make sense of all this. So beginning on this equinox, for this year, March 21st, 2023, we began the second phase of a trifurcation phase of experiential and physical manifestation of new earth. So bear with me as I kind of go through some notes here, because I do need to use my notes as I'm still processing a lot of what this means. But back in 2012, the Mayan calendar ended. So a lot of people were freaking out that it was going to be the end of the world. And it was the end of the world as we knew it in consciousness, because that was when we officially moved into the evolution of the golden age. So is what what I'll call it. But it was moving into the energetics of the new earth. And at that moment in time, on December 21st, so that was the solstice, the winter solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere, December 21st, 2012, we moved into a null point, a void. And that void was when the planetary energetics came to a stop, the end of time as we knew it, and began time as we are now starting to know it, getting into a new world, into a new consciousness, a new frequency. So there's a lot to cover there, but if you just bear with me on understanding this, we started, now fast forward to March 21st, 2020. That was when we entered into the first phase of the vertical evolution, and we began a grand cycle of the trifurcation. The trifurcation is a 9-year spiral, so to speak. We're going to put it in linear terms, linear time. However, that's the Gregorian calendar of time. We're not really following that on the spiritual evolution or the spiritual perception of life. So we, if you're here, we are moving into the pole shift of moving into a more spiritually aligned consciousness and moving out of the attachment to the physical perception of life. We understand that there is a physical perception, there is an experiential perception in our human form, but many of us have awakened to a new it's not new. We have moved into understanding our natural way of evolution, our natural way of living starts with the spiritual energetics, consciousness of ourselves, the higher selves, the multidimensional selves, and that then aligns us into the mental, emotional, and then the physical, experiential part of life. So we are really tuning into the higher frequencies of who we are, the higher frequencies of spiritual living. And as we rise in consciousness, we know now that consciousness is a spiral. Wah! Oh, darn it. Hold on a second. My thing just flew away. We are spiraling up into higher realms of consciousness, which as we spiral up, each of those spirals, each part of the spiral has a different frequency. So these grand cycles of spiraling up have different, have a 3-year cycle, so to speak. So in 2020, March 21st of 2020, we entered into the first grand cycle of this 3-part trifurcation. These 3 parts is 3 years, 3 years, and 3 years, so a 9-year cycle. So from March 21st to 2020 to March 21st, 2023, which we just encountered, that was the first part of the cycle. So what does that mean for us? That's what I'm kind of still processing. But I want to cover, I think this is really interesting because every spring solstice starts a new spiral in linear time. So each year is the new year of a new evolutionary spiral. So when we are intentionally navigating life from the spiritual realms, which means in consciousness, we then can live a lot more of life experientially in what the world is going to say is in 1 year time. But for us, living a cycle of this experiential spiral evolution in consciousness in the parallel 1 year, we can actually live many more lifetimes in that year. Okay, so I know this is so hard to put it to words sometimes. But when I started to think about this, when I learned about this 3-year cycle, and from 2020 to 2023, what I know for me personally, I'm going to share because I try to bring this into really practical, experiential terms. These last 3 years for me have been huge evolutionary years for me. And on March 21st, 2020, Bud and I got married. And on our wedding day, it sounds like I can remember. I'll never forget it. We woke up to a sunny, blue-skied day. And about the time, I think our ceremony was at 6. And I had this vision of, we were in Colorado. And on the way, because we lived in Austin, on our drive to Colorado, I was receiving text messages because the announcement was starting to make its way around the world about this thing that was going around the world that was for many people to fear. I don't want to say it because I don't want this video to get flagged. But you know what I'm talking about. It was the beginning. March 2020 was the beginning of the epidemic that took over the world. And I was receiving text messages as we drove, people saying, this thing's happening, I don't know what it's about, we can't make it, we're sorry. And at first I was like, oh man, like all these people were backing out, they weren't gonna show up. And then it turned out to be amazingly beautiful. So as I've come to trust, as I was getting texts for, people saying we can't come, there was no frustration, there was no anger. It was just, I kept looking the whole drive, like text after text. I'd be like, honey, we got 2 less people coming. And he's like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, so he was having a little bit different of a reaction. But for me, I was okay with it because I had enough trust at that point to know that whomever was supposed to be there was going to be there. However this day was supposed to be was going to be. It wasn't about, all the people and all the things. It was just, we really wanted it to be a congregation of people coming together to commune around fires for a couple of days, to hang out, and we did. And because we didn't have as many people, we were all able to come into the house that we had rented. It was a friend of ours from Austin who had a house in Colorado, and we all just hung out. We built fires, we did cupcakes, we had communal dinners, and it was just a couple of days, 3-4 days to just hang out with those who came. On the day of our ceremony, something really intensely powerful happened. We woke up to a blue-skied day. There was snow on the ground. It was cold, but again, it was March 21st, 2020. What I know now is that was the beginning day of the first cycle of this trifurcation evolutionary period, this trifurcation spiral. But I didn't know that at that point. I just knew it was the equinox. That's why we chose that day. And I knew it was a very special day. It was the beginning of a whole new season. It's the beginning of, consciously in consciousness. I knew that it's the beginning. It's the new year of a new cycle. And it was just apropos to have the beginning of our commitment to each other start on that day. As we got closer to the evening and started getting ready to have the ceremony, I had this vision of like snow falling, and we had a big bonfire that was built for the ceremony, and Bud and I were going to stand in front of the bonfire and have this beautiful, like, intense, you know, setting. And it was even better than that, because as I got ready, I kept hearing people were assembling down. We had the bonfire, and then we had these our friends had these cool like log seating areas, so people were like down there on the logs, and they were, you know, anyway, I'll put pictures in here. But I started hearing Bud going, "Babe, we gotta start, there's something rolling in, babe." And I was just like, I wanted it to be like perfect, right? But all of a sudden, my younger son came up. He's like, "Mama, we got to get started." And the wind started picking up. When you looked off, I don't know, my directions are really bad. I want to say it was east. When we looked, I'm going to say it was east. When we looked east, there was this massive wall. This wall of clouds, and it was rolling in. And our photographer, who was local, she was like, "You guys got to get started, because this is something big rolling in." By the time we got down the steps and down into, you know, to the ceremony, the winds were howling. The snow was like going sideways, and within the first few minutes of our ceremony, the like everybody was covered. Like I said, I'm gonna put some pictures in as I talk through this so you can see it. This storm came out of nowhere. It was a thunderstorm blizzard that rolled through. My friend Julie was marrying us and she was trying so hard to just stay on, you know, to read the script, or not read the script, but read the ceremony that I had written. And Bud and I were trying to concentrate because I really wanted to have my whole heart into it, but at the same time, we were getting pummeled by this storm, the snow and the wind. And I looked behind me, and like everybody behind us is just covered in snow. My stepdad had my little old Jack Russell dog Lucy on his lap, just trying to protect her. Priya, our big dog, was there. She was just miserable. She was scared. I mean, the intensity of this storm that came out of nowhere was so symbolic to, you know, who I am, because you know, this energy was exactly what I would want. Intense, and you couldn't ignore it. I mean, it was in your face, and I knew something. I told Bud afterwards, I was like, that was Mother Nature showing up and telling us she was there. She was there to support this union. She was one with us, and she came in, and as fast, y'all, as fast as it came in, during the ceremony, I finally said, "Pause." Hi, girl. I said, "Pause." I know. Hi. She's so happy to be outside, you guys. She just loves this place so much. I finally like yelled pause in the middle, and I had to move in. Like, I wanted it to be like where we could hear the words and we could feel. We were just in resistance mode during the time. So we moved into the house. Everybody just piled into the living room. We had people on ottomans, people on the stairs, and we finished inside. But as fast as that storm came in, it moved out and made for the most beautiful pictures afterwards, because those clouds moved out, blue skies rolled in, but these clouds kind of like were just in the background as we were taking pictures. It was the most incredible moment. But what I know now is it was the beginning. That day was the beginning of this massive cycle. The first phase of this trifurcation cycle. So it came in with not a vengeance, it came in with intensity. And in the 3 years since then, the intensity of that, not only energetic, but also in my world, it was a physical tsunami of energy that rolled through my world. And that tsunami, I've talked about these tsunamis on the daily tune-ins and peace talks. That tsunami then took Bud and I into a fast forward motion that has lasted these last 3 years. So when I learned this information about that first phase, that we're in this 9-year cycle now, this 3-phase trifurcation of evolution in consciousness, these 3 years was a massive increase in consciousness. And it came for me, which I've been sharing here for almost about that time, the practical experiential experience of what that has meant in my own life. And shortly, 2 months after we got married, we came to California, to this very place where I'm at now, and we spent 3 months surrounded by nature, surrounded by intentionalizing what's our life going to look like. And the beauty of that was we were able to have 3 months to do that. The not so beautiful part of it was that we were in such energy that we've had this opportunity. All of us, every human has had this opportunity in these last 3 years of this spiral. This was a direct spiral up in consciousness to take advantage of the energy. And we did that. But it also means that when we say we want this, the universe has to move out all of that which doesn't align with what the intention is. And the next 3 years for us were so intense with moving things out, moving people out of our worlds, literally geographically moving all around the world. And all of the things that brought that, the mental and emotional purging, and the mental and emotional grounding of what it means to live a spiritual world in a world that is still very much attached to the physical and what we already know. The spiritual world is about following that which we don't know, but that which feels more aligned for us. So we have been living this pole shift in these last 3 years that have drastically changed our life, drastically quieted it down, drastically simplified it in order for us to be more sustainable. And it has been a whirlwind in these last 3 years. But what I can honestly say, and I just said it the other day when I posted a happy anniversary to Bud, is that these 3 years have not just been 3 linear years in regular physical time. These have been 3 lifetimes. We have lived lifetimes. And when I say we, listen to what I'm saying, because all of this experience has been you too. I want you to go back to where you were in 2020, March of 2020. It gives us what was happening in the world gives us a pretty big point in time that we can remember. Think of how much you have changed energetically, mentally, emotionally, and maybe even physically over these last 3 years. It makes very much sense to me now that these phases are going to change us and this planet in ways we cannot imagine. So 3 years have already gone by and we have changed drastically. The next 3 years, this past Tuesday, March 21st, 2023, started the second phase, the second 3-year phase. So y'all know what that means. We're going to repeat the intensity of growth in these next 3 years. Therefore, now that we know this, not all of us knew exactly what was happening 3 years ago in 2020. And I'm not talking about the physical stuff that was happening. I'm talking in consciousness. I'm talking about the spiritual nature of the elevation in consciousness. This radical shift, this radical cycle that we started. And on this past Tuesday, we started the second phase. It's going to bring us radical shifts, radical expansion, radical evolution for the next 3 years. And then in 2026, we'll start phase 3. So phase 2 is happening. We are in it now, y'all. This is why I'm telling you this. So now you know. And when you know, you can use that information to your advantage and consciously choose, how do you want to grow? What do you want to intentionalize? How do you want to see your life in 3 years? And when I know that Bud and I literally sat and we intentionalized what we wanted our life to look like. We wanted travel. We wanted to live here in Northern California. Our family was a big thing, and that's still being worked out as far as how we saw it. But I will tell you, everything we talked about, the universe delivered to us in a way we couldn't have expected. We got to travel. And again, not in a way that we had expected, but we were delivered that. Some of the yuckier stuff in my world, with my relationship with my ex-husband and all of that, the universe gave me the way in order to not fix that, but to remedy it. I barely have contact with him now. And so all of the things that we intentionalized happened in 3 years. So then we get to a point now, this one's digging, we get to a point now where we start over. And we are now intentionalizing again. What do we want? And now what I know is it will most likely be here in the next 3 years, because I've already lived it, I've seen it, I've experienced it. And this second phase of this process is when second phase begins. Oh, it's over here. And let me just get the words. This is the second triune level. The Trinity Spiral is what we're in. And oddly enough, I ended up in Trinity County for this second triune. This is what it's called, the second triune of the Trinity Spiral. And this is when the galactic level of experiential reality becomes ours. So let's break that down a little bit. The galactic level, which means higher consciousness, right? Universal cosmic consciousness is the galactic level, cosmic level of experiential reality, meaning physical reality. We have been talking about this being the year, the Jubilee year, right? The year, the Shemitah year, the Jubilee year. And there's I think the first Peace Talks was all about that. So you can go and look at that. But that's when we materialize New Earth. We materialize the higher experience of life, the experiential reality of heaven on earth. So this is another piece of cosmic evidence that this is what is happening. So in these next 3 years, we are going to see a massive shift in how we experience life in physical form. Those of us who are the pioneers I talk about of consciousness, those of us who are aware of this, those of us who work with this energy to our advantage, will have a radical up level of evolutionary experience in our physical worlds. That's really freaking exciting. So that's why I'm sharing this, because it's really important that we get really detailed, really intentional about what it is we want that to look like. And I think it's even more support as to why it's so important to come with us, come with me on this journey of 369. Nikola Tesla, he's a genius of his time, has said over and over again, if you only knew the magnificence of 369, you unlock the keys to the universe. I don't know exactly what that means, but I know I farted around with it for a little bit. Now, I had some pretty intense mystical experiences, and I also had some things that intentionalized and materialized in my life where I was like, whoa, what if I do that? What if I do that with even more knowledge? And this journal came upon my my journey, and I'm going for it. So if you want to go for it, let's use this second level of galactic level experiential reality, bring that into fruition in an intentional way, in a group setting, and let's get started on literally creating, we're already creating New Earth, but let's get really intentional with what that looks like. I hope you feel this. I tried to put it into words. I feel it real, like down to, like through my soles of my feet down into this earth that I'm in this heart chakra area. It is being intentionalized. I'm going places. If you want to go with me, come with me, because I don't really know what that means, but I want to get clear on where the direction is that I'm headed, what I'm building, what I'm creating. And I want to do that with people who are also wanting to build and create something really freaking great in their lives for the good of all, so that we can be something more than this world has offered us. Let's build something that actually benefits the health, the well-being, and the sacred wellness of our world. That's what I'm doing. If you want to come with me, you're invited. All you got to do is just send me your information. I'll send you an invite to Storehouse Social. I'll send you the information on the 369 project. And let's do this. I'm excited. It's about time to get back into this mass meditation. I'm going to bring that excitement and that energy into my heart, down into the heart chakra of this land, into Mother Earth, send it out to all beings, no matter who they are, where they are. People are going to get some light today. And we are also in a high level geomagnetic storm. It was a level 7 before I left to come out here. So the magnetics of who we are being electrified right now. It's a perfect time to meditate. It's a perfect time to intentionalize. And I plan to keep on doing it. So I hope you receive this information. If your mind and can't quite comprehend it, neither can mine entirely. I can just feel it, and I know it's pretty powerful. And the sun just came out. So thanks for being here, y'all. I'll see you on the next Peace Talks. Mwah. Have a good one. Bye.